Hey guys, Boone down south here. Today I've got something that I'm really excited about to share with you guys. It has to do with this Bonafide RVR 119. You know, I got this about a month ago. I've been fishing out of the SS 127 for about 4 or 5 years, and I had that thing fine-tuned exactly how I fish, how I like it, and I'm still tweaking on the RVR. And there's some advantages that I got coming to the RVR, and there's a few disadvantages that I don't like about the RVR. But I've got something that solves a lot of problems to share with you guys today. If you want to check out my comparison, you can check it out. I put a link up top between the SS 127 and an RVR. But what I have to show you today, aftermarket seat risers. And one of the things people talk about is that, yeah, I don't want to go from a 127 to a 119 because I just love the seat, which I do as well. And you do go to a lower seat on this RVR. But these seat risers solve more than just your sitting comfort. And I'll explain in the video. So stay tuned, hit that like and subscribe. All right guys, so yeah, one of the things, if you watch my comparison video, is this seat is lower than the SS 127, which I'm very comfortable with. It's a very comfortable seat. I think you talk to anybody, they're going to tell you that. And you definitely come down, and so you do give up some things when you move from the 127 to 119 to get a more agile, if you will, riverboat. But I was looking at things online, and I saw where Greg at 3dyak.com has produced some fishing risers or seat risers for various kayaks out there. He recently did one for the, I think, the Bonafide P127. And so I reached out to Greg and said, Greg, here's the deal with the RVR. Would you be able to make some seat risers for this? And so we went back and forth, and I sent him some pictures and whatnot and looked at it, and he sent me a couple risers to test out. And so what I've got here are 2-inch seat risers. I'm going to kind of go over what it's going to take to get it installed. It's not a big deal, really easy, simple to do. But the deal with the RVR, the rear of the seat just kind of sits on the hull, if you will, or the plastic. And so you've got to raise that up too. And there's not any track or anything like that, or any screw knobs or anything that attaches to it. Just kind of rests on the hull. So you got to raise that up too. So we're going to go over all the details. First thing I want to do is really just kind of go over the install of this real quick, what that's going to take. Again, it's simple to get a 2-inch lift on the seat. But then what I've come to understand is this really gives you 3 benefits, not just one being the seat riser. We're going to talk about each one of those. Let's talk about the install. All right, here's the seat from the factory. And basically, you've got your track on either side of the front seat with this little knob screwing down. And you can loosen this knob, and the other one over here. You can loosen this knob, and you have about 4 inches of forward and back seat movement, okay? So the riser is going to go under here. So we're going to remove this knob, put the riser in place, set the front seat feet, if you will, on that riser, mount that in, and I'll get solid. But the back of the seat, so I see forward a little bit here, just rests right here. So this would be the forward position, and you can see where the seat is resting there. This would be all the way in the rear position, and I'm probably going to be like right in there. That's what you're looking at. So there's really nothing to mount something on here, so we got to have something here. Okay. So going back and forth with Greg had an idea. He said, what about using a yoga block? And I had no idea what a yoga block is. But he sent me a link to one on Amazon, and it turns out my daughter's a fitness instructor. So she had some yoga blocks, and she showed it to me. And it's a very sturdy foam. It's very solid. And I'm like, yeah, that'll probably work. So I went to work on searching for a yoga block that would be 2 inches thick to put in here. And I couldn't find a yoga block that was 2 inches. Either the yoga blocks were too short, I felt like, to fit the width that we need, or they were too thick, which that's not a problem in itself because we can trim this stuff, right? I mean, just put it on bandsaw or whatever means you want to cut foam. It's just foam, right? So you can cut stuff easily. But I did come across these yoga mats, if you will, and it's a 2-pack in a size large. And I'll put a link below. And basically, these are 2 inches thick. So didn't know what I was getting, but these foam blocks, they're not as solid as a yoga block, okay? This is considered a yoga foam mat, but they're not as solid. They do have a little more squish to them, okay? But this is 2 inches. My riser blocks are 2 inches. I got to take up the space in the back. So the idea is to put this back in the back underneath the seat to rest the seat back on. There is a little bit of squish here, but I'm going to use heavy-duty hook and loop type fasteners with 3M tape that's made for high heat to basically Velcro this pad down to the back there. And I think that Velcro is going to give it enough lift to make up for the difference in the squish in this pad versus a yoga block. And this kind of fits right in. Depending on your seat position and what kind of options you have on your RVR, you can throw this seat in just like it is, or you can trim it if you need to trim it. So basically, I'm just going to go ahead and unscrew the seats, pop those out, and now the seat will move out of the way. All right, now with the seat out of the way, basically here's the riser blocks. And if you take a look at it, it's actually form fitted to match the foot peg on the seats there. There's this slot in here which is on the bottom, which also lines up in the track to help keep it from doing some wobble as well. So let me take this off of here. The easiest thing to do is go ahead and take your bolt, slide it in place. There is a piece for where the old piece goes in with a nut attachment, if you will. Just slide that out of your way. Just not worried about it. Just put this in the track, and you'll see that groove right there. We're just going to slide it down and get that groove on there. So it's kind of pretty good right there. It's not locked down to anything, but it's not going to slide back and forth because that extra groove in the slot here holds up. And you still have full range of movement. So I come all the way here, and I come all the way back. Okay? So I've got the full 4-inch range with this in here, which is great. Let's pop the other one in. Lock it in place. There you go. All right, at this point, this is where the seat back sits. So I'm just going to put this right there for now. I'm going to put some Velcro on to fasten in place. But then you line your seat over with these bolts, and down she goes. Line it up. Lock that up. Tighten it down. And I'm telling you, this is solid now. Look, I'm checking the whole boat. That's not wobbling. That's good. That gives you 2 inches of clearance now with this pad here. And again, I'm gonna put some Velcro down underneath this pad, permanently put that pad there, or semi-permanently with Velcro. So you got 2 inches with this seat height. So basically, where I'm at with this whole thing is this is gonna add to your comfort level without a doubt, no questions. I also use a pretty thick pad. This Cottonwood Outdoors for one of my tree stands. This is a lot thicker of a pad. I put that on there, and I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure I'm at the same level as an SS127 seat. And I will put them side by side because I'm going to try this out in the morning with these seat risers. I'm going to hit a river in the morning, so I'm going to put them side by side with the SS127 when I load them up on the trailer and kind of take a look at the seat height difference. But I think it's going to make a huge, huge improvement on my comfort in the RVR. And quite honestly, it's been comfortable to me, but hey, most people do. They like the higher seat. It gives you more comfort. Let's talk about a couple other things real quick before I get on to the rest of this here. All right, so here's another thing. I love having the integrated anchor wizard on the RVR for the front side. It's just great because with this kayak, you turn around on a dime, get through some shoals, turn that thing, drop the anchor, you're facing upriver, cast upriver, you're locked in place. It's fantastic. However, the design of this anchor wizard sitting right here is kind of not great on your thumbs, if you will. When you start turning this knob, you're essentially rubbing your knuckles on this stuff right here, right? And when you're trying to do it fast, I mean, it's not comfortable, okay? It's just not, okay? And essentially, you know, some people have commented on it. Bonafide knows, but I said, yeah, well, you get used to it, and also you can change your seat position. And I'll just loosen this up and slide it back here for a second. And again, this is the stock setup. But if I come back just a little bit, now I've got a little bit more clearance here. And that's basically where I've been fishing it from, and you're still rubbing your knuckles in there, at least I do. So it either takes a lot of practice to not rub your knuckles, but to me, it's just, other people have mentioned this too online, it's just irritating, right? When you put the 2-inch seat risers on there, you can put the seat any way you want, forward or backward, with those 2 inches on there, and you got plenty of clearance. You are not gonna be rubbing your knuckles on this anymore. Hallelujah, okay? Solves that problem, makes this thing a gem with the risers. All right, as part of my setup on the RVR and kind of getting this thing homed in to the way I like to fish it, I'm trying to basically slimline my whole setup, right? So Bonafide recently introduced the storage tray, or the storage bag, if you will, that goes under the RVR 119 seat. So this was made for the RVR 119 seat, and basically you can put two 3600 boxes on either side. So now it's under the seat, you just pull it out, use the stuff, don't have to go around the back to your black pack or your, like I got a Wilderness Systems crate that I use back there, or even your milk crate. You don't have to turn around the back of that. All your stuff is, all your tackle is right below you. Easy to access, right? Plus it also has got a Velcro strap to hold the boxes in. So if you do flip, the seat's locked down, you got your clip on the back of the seat. These things are strapped in, so hopefully you're not gonna lose your 3600 boxes either. So they're secured in case that happens. So, but the problem is, this bag solves one problem, which is gives you easy access to your tackle, but it takes away one of the benefits of the RVR 119. One of the things I love about this is the way you set your rods up in here for transport. And basically you got some slots down here, some grooves underneath the seat. You can put 4 rods in here, I think up to 7 feet, X number of inches, I forget the exact dimensions. And it's great because you can strap them down the front, have them slid under here. You get where you're going, you just pull them out, put them in your rod holders, and you're good to go. It streamlined things from what I was doing with the SS127. So I really like that, right? The moment you throw this bag on with storage in there, you just lost your rod space. There's no space on there to put rods and reels down there, extending it. So you kind of totally killed it, right? So it's kind of like, which do you want? Do you want the rod storage or do you want the tackle storage? But you can't have both. You put the 2-inch seat risers on, you're back to having both. These seat risers are awesome. I really appreciate Greg working these up, and tomorrow will be the first test run on the river tomorrow with this setup. And I've done plenty of fishing out of this so far. I do plenty of stand-up fishing as well. So I don't think 2 inches sitting down is gonna really affect me from a stability perspective. Now, I'm not saying I'm gonna hit some class 3 rapids with 2 inches up. If that's the kind of area I was fishing, I don't know, maybe it'll be fine. But I'm not saying to go out and do that. But for most of my fishing down the rivers I do, with the shoals and what rapids I hit, I think I'll be 2 inches up and not have a thing to worry about in this RVR. And these seat risers fix all those things. Comfort of seat height fixes the problem with the anchor wizard. You're rubbing your knuckles every time you're trying to turn the anchor wizard, and also lets you use the under storage 3600 tackle bag without affecting your rod storage. So I think it's just awesome. This is where I get back to that foam, that piece of foam. If you look here, the seat that I got, see how far it extends? It really doesn't need to be that far. This is in a front position here, and that's pretty much where I'm gonna be. But if you got longer legs and like to sit to the rear, as you move to the rear, the back of this bag is gonna go back as well. So you'll need to trim the foam, whatever length you need as far as from the back to the front here, trim across it to the point where this bag will come back for you if you use this bag. Otherwise, it doesn't really matter. But the reality is, anything past this spot right here is useless anyway. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and cut this much off just to have it out of there. I don't need that taking up space. All right, this is what I'm using. It's not Velcro, it's a different type of fastener, but it's supposed to be like 1,000 times stronger than Velcro or something like that, something crazy like that. But it's made for high heat and a lot of different services. So that's what we're gonna use for the pad. All right, I'm just gonna line this block up best I can, coming from the rear. And pretty even. Push this down. I'm just going to apply pressure for a little bit here. Just as a side note, if you have the Bonafide cover for the RVR 119, which is actually the SS127 cover, but it fits the RVR 119. If you have it, put the seat risers on, it still fits. So just FYI. Okay, guys. So testing this seat riser setup. Again, it's 2 inches of seat riser. Plus, I've got the Cottonwood Outdoors pretty thick cushion on top of it. You can tell from the pic, it's about the same height as the SS127. I mean, it looks a little bit higher, but when you put that squish of the cottonwood pad down, I think it's gonna take about the same height. It feels great. I'm paddling upstream. I'm on a little river. Not a lot of current, it's pretty wide. When I get down here near the dam, there'll be more current, but so far, I mean, I don't notice any stability issues here at all. I mean, this is just great. I didn't expect to. The boat has a lot of good stability with it. I know it's based on the secondary stability, but let's put enough time in it now that I feel pretty good about it. And again, I'm not saying, you know, raise your seats and go down for class 3 rapids, but for most other fishing, I think the seat riser is just perfect because it solves so many problems, guys. I mean, I feel like this is giving me back the full functionality of an SS127 and all the benefits of the RVR at this point by these seat risers, because it fixed so many issues. The way I got things organized now, I freed up a lot of space. Now that I can use my underseat storage instead of have to put stuff in the back. So whatever I would have put in the hatch, I can now fit behind my seat. You know, no longer rubbing the fingers on the anchor wizard. It's great. I mean, it's just fantastic now. Because it was just a pain rubbing your fingers all the time, and just the comfort of sitting higher is fantastic. So I'm gonna call it a win on these seat risers, and I think it's the needed thing to finalize this RVR as far as bringing me back to an SS127 level of comfort and functionality, and still have all the agility that this boat has to offer in the shoals and everything. So anyway, again, 3dyak.com. Greg over there is the one that set me up on all the stuff, and like I said, this is a test run. So, but I think Greg's gonna probably put these into production and and start selling them and stuff like that. So you can check him out on 3dyak.com and go from there. So y'all hit that like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.